Hello and welcome to another Royally Rich show with me, Ian Pelham Turner.
And with me, Helena Chard.
Well, let's roll the titles and let's get on with the show. Well, Helena, Charles has been on his travels again. Goodness me, you know.
Good for him and Queen Camilla. I mean, to do a journey to Canada for under 24 hours, I can't imagine what they must be feeling. But obviously this trip was put off. He was undergoing treatment last year, and then there was obviously stuff going on in Canada, which delayed it further. But he's there, and everyone's so excited to see him. I mean, the first day he's been like meeting people, markets, people have just been really happy to see them both. I have to say they did look a little bit stunned, but I think after that long journey, can you imagine under 24 hours and then whizzing back, especially when you're having cancer treatment? Hats off, I say. But it is the 45th Parliament of Canada. It is the opening, and King Charles is going to be giving the throne speech. So this is really quite extraordinary. Everything's going on, travelling to the Senate as we talk, actually in a couple of hours or in about an hour, Ian, travelling to the Senate, Canada's state landau, so it's going to be horse-drawn by 28 horses. It's going to receive full military honours. I hadn't realised that it would be so huge for such a short space of time, but this is pretty amazing that he has obviously been monarch for such a short space of time. The last time the Queen opened Parliament, and this was 18th of October 1978. First time was the 14th of October in 1957. So for King Charles to travel at this extraordinary time really is putting things in perspective. Mark Carney's obviously sending that message that Canada is reaffirming its ties to the Crown. So it's an interesting time. I mean, Ian, what do you think about this?
I think, I was just talking over with our studio producer just now. I was just saying I wish Mark Carney was our Prime Minister at the moment, because I think he's got a lot more sense.
He has. He's very bright as well, isn't he? I mean, he did great. He did wonders when he was here at the Bank of England. But I think it's important to say that King Charles doesn't write his own speech. I mean, he still has that, he can't cross that political line. So it's quite a hard thing to play, knowing what King Charles is like. I mean, it's been written for him, the speech, and he just really is the narrator. But everyone sat at home watching with avid eyes in Canada, because obviously Trump and his murmurs of Canada becoming the 51st American state, and then talking about annexing Canada. I mean, it's a very precarious time. It's interesting to see King Charles as well. You know, he's wearing it's all the little quiet gestures, you know, the red tie. Camilla's in this beautiful pink dress as well. It's, you know, really walking the diplomatic tightrope. And what are the other things that he does? I mean, I think as well to do with he was sat on the Canadian chair, I think at the Commonwealth Day. So there's all little tiny fragments. But yes, it will obviously show support to Canada. Let's see what happens and how will Trump react? Hopefully in a good way. Who knows? So moving on, we're moving on to the late Diana, Princess of Wales. Now, this is something that Jenny Bond, a fellow royal correspondent, has been talking about recently. And apparently, Princess Diana predicted that her eldest son, so that's Prince William, is going to be such a popular member of the royal family, is a real good egg, and that everyone's really, really lucky to have him. This was years and years ago, and obviously it has come very true, which is great. And she's been talking about how everything about him, even the way he speaks, he's well spoken, but he's not completely poshy-loshy. He dresses well, but he still wears trainers. He relates to the younger generation. Also, we saw him at the football recently, another different situation. He was at Wembley Stadium, and, you know, all the fans were just saying how cool he is. I don't know if cool is a word of today. I don't think it is. But anyway, I shall use that word. Yeah, he's sort of dubbed cool by all his fans. So great stuff. And also there's been a poll where this is the YouGov, which has shown that William is now the most popular royal in Britain, this is, with a 75% rating. And Princess Catherine is just teetering behind. So all going well. And moving on to another, keeping in Princess Diana mode, it was a fashion-y day today as part of the news. So the largest ever auction of Princess Diana's clothes is taking place very soon. So for everybody who wants a little bit of Diana, you can actually even watch it online, but there's over 200 historic outfits up for grabs. So all very exciting. It's at Julian's Auctions, and it's expected to draw so many fans. This is on the 26th of June in the Peninsula Beverly Hills, so everyone should tune in. A proportion of proceeds going to charity to Muscular Dystrophy UK. But you've got people like Catherine Walker, lots of her dresses. There's the off-duty sweatshirt, which is the British Lung Foundation that she used to wear regularly. And also Bruce Oldfield's clothing. And I think something that's really interesting that made me think is that Catherine Walker, her name is, she has a biog that's out, and she talks about how Princess Diana actually transitioned from prim and proper to wearing obviously racier outfits. And one of the briefs that she used to say when making clothes for Diana was, this is what Diana requested, that the clothes should smile, which I thought was a nice little tidbit that I hadn't known about. Moving on to Princess Catherine now, Princess of Wales, and she was wearing her late mother-in-law, so Princess Diana's jewellery, to christen a new ship in Scotsdown that I'm sure Ian knows about. I don't know Scotsdown. A sapphire and diamond earrings set, and that was to launch HMS Glasgow. So quite funny to see her in her quite a sort of navy-esque smart outfit as she gave her little speech and smashed the bottle of whiskey against it. So this is the first of the Royal Navy's newest Class 26 frigate. I think it's first of 8. So this is to do with Navy warfare. So quite fun to see that, and seeing her in her nautical theme. So there we go. So the smashing of the bottle is the good luck. And I think, last of all, just going to give a hurrah to Princess Anne, because I don't think people have really been chatting about her recently, but she still carries on doing her work very quietly. I think she's at a unit at the moment, a science unit, where she's become the patron of it. That was in the last 2 days. But a very funny, she's very, you know, everyone loves her, but she's quite bold and frank. And I think the fact that she's so straightforward is always quite comical. So much loved, full of commitment, really hardworking. But a little while ago, a student actually asked her, she was quite young, it was in a different country, what it's like living in such a huge house as Buckingham Palace, for which she answered that she doesn't really know, because it is a state-owned establishment and that she wasn't actually born there. But she did live there. In fact, all the children were brought up at Buck Pal. It's not a private property. In fact, there's lots of ambiguous talk around it. But I think it was quite an interesting one, in a sense, that people were asking all these questions about Buckingham Palace. And she just said, well, she doesn't know. And it's obviously held in trust by the Crown for future generations. But so much more was given as well. And I think Princess Anne is just, she shares her knowledge and chats to young people so eloquently, and that's why the younger generation love her. And not to forget as well that she was claimed as the chicest fashionable woman recently. and she had a range brought out. It was actually a male fashion range brought out after her, but it was to do with the fact that she can manage to look so elegant and feminine even though she's wearing suits and attire such as. And I can't remember who the woman was that said it. I should know, it's Sylvia Fendi. And on that note, I shall end. We've got lots and lots more to talk about when it comes to King Charles and the speech that's coming up very soon, and we'll be able to feed back shortly.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Well, I have a member of Scotstoun as well, because Scotstoun is a suburb of Glasgow, which for the shipbuilding area of Glasgow, and obviously on the Clyde itself. And my memory is that many years ago when I worked in Scotland, one day I was sent down to Scotstoun because apparently Prince Charles then, who was then he was a lieutenant in the Navy, was parking his frigate by the side of Scotstoun Pier. And so there I was down there, and all of a sudden Charles turns up, without his tie on, no hat, looking over the edge as if he saw parking a car type of thing. And I start taking pictures of him, getting close-ups of him doing this, and all of a sudden he spots me and he dashes back inside, and the next thing I know is that he's put his cap on, he's put his tie on, and he's looking straight ahead as well at the same time. So that's my sort of memory of Scotstoun. And it's great that we're talking about Buckingham Palace today, because our next guest is a Brazilian view of Buckingham Palace and what they like about it as well. So stay tuned. Well, welcome back to the third part of the show today. And now we have Kianara Hazin and Pav Vade. So Kianara is a visionary designer, and Pav has very kindly stepped in at the last minute, who works with Can't Stop Fashion. So welcome to the two of you.
Thank you very much.
Now, Kiara, you were just telling me about the Met at the moment. Tell me about what is this event that you're wanting to try and do in October this year?
The London Met.
Yes.
So the London Met was launched last year at St John's Church in Hyde Park, we launched a fashion show last year, but the concept for this year is to have the London Met, a fashion show with a gala, so a sit-down dinner. The London Met, and the theme this year is the Windrush, the Legacy. The Met Gala itself started in 1948. The Windrush, they came in 1948. So I'm marrying the two to show the legacy of the legacy and the style of those who came, and how they came in style, although they was told, don't wear your Sunday best, they still did. And the legacy is us. So me being a designer is the legacy of my father, who was a tailor. So that is the London Met that we are proposing to have in October of this year.
And what are you seeking? You're seeking a building, and you're...
Yeah, we're seeking collaboration with someone for a venue, so who would sponsor us with their space, so we can have the fashion show, so we can have the gala, maybe have a gallery of photos from Howard Gray, who has allowed us to use his 1962 library of the Windrush. So we're really privileged to have that. It was a privilege that Howard allowed us to have that. So now we're looking for someone who wants to collab with us, to share the space, to enjoy the privileges of exposing the Windrush, and how our parents help when they were called to come to Britain, and what we have contributed, or what we are still contributing now.
Absolutely. And Pav, obviously this is sort of something that I should imagine Can't Stop Fashion works with as well. How important are these types of events, and how important was the event that I visited recently at
yes,
Wood Green?
So
talk to me about that.
Yes, well, thank you so much for coming down on the day. So the event was Cultural Style Week, their London Expo, and Can't Stop Fashion was asked to do their closing show. So we did a showstopper called Diaspora's Bloom, which sort of ties into what Kianara has mentioned as well. where it focused, well, for that diaspora's bloom, it focused on the ever-evolving creativity within both the African and Caribbean diasporas. And Kianara also was there on the day, and she showcased an amazing collection as an overall. But it was just very nice to be able to bring that to the community and for yourself to see it firsthand as well. So thank you so much.
And it was a marvellous spectacle as well. I really enjoyed coming in, and it's the type of thing that the Royally Rich Lifestyle Show wants to promote and help with across the world at the same time. Kianara, I know that part of your history was, first of all, your father inspired you because he was a tailor.
Yes.
And then you started making dresses for your sisters as well. So was that how the passion first started?
Yeah, I always knew, ever since I was a young child, I knew I wanted to go into do designing, to do fashion. And yes, because of my dad. And then, so that's where it started. And when I got to maybe 16 or so, I started just making dresses that a lot of them I couldn't wear because I wouldn't go to the scenes to wear them, but my sisters wore them. So, and really enjoyed wearing them. My mum didn't see them as real value, but my sisters love wearing them.
That's right. And initially you wanted to go to the London College of Fashion.
That's right.
And your mother said no.
No. We are not investing that much money because she, in her words, what you make is not real fashion. Do you see? So she said, what you make it's not really fashion, it's just what your sisters like to wear. So that was her logic in not sending me at 16, because I applied to get in and I got in on my own without my teachers or anything. And then when I got in, I brought it to her attention, and that was her response.
But later on...
years later, I made a decision on the back of having a situation at work. And I said, if I passed away tomorrow and God said, were you happy? I would say no, because I didn't go to fashion school. And that was it. I reapplied to London College, I got in again, and I thought, I'm not missing it this time.
No, absolutely. And obviously with Can't Stop Fashion, you're all about supporting designers as well.
Yeah.
How important is it for community designers to actually be supported? What type of help do they need?
That's a very good question. So I feel the support is immeasurable of what can be done, such as designers such as Kianara. So I think we first met back in 2020, it was beginning of 2020 actually, with a fashion show. And, having as much talent as Kianara doesn't necessarily always mean that people will have the right connections or to be able to get into the correct places.
Yes.
So that can be very difficult, and organising a fashion show, as I know you would understand, can be very tedious, it can be very costly, and it's the types of things that I feel clothing designers specifically just don't have the time to be doing. Your creativity should be focused on the creativity, not necessarily the business side of things and bringing things together. So it does make me very happy to be able to put together the shows that I do and have talented designers such as Kianara, involved in them, just so it helps to alleviate the stress from her and other designers too, rather than everybody try to do their own fashion shows and, be super minus by the end of it.
Yes.
And Kianara, you've done a lot of very interesting things. So you did Africa Fashion Week, you've been in Paris Fashion Week.
I have.
What was that like?
Oh, that was wonderful. I was invited over by someone, Aspav, who creates their fashion platform. And I went over to Paris. We drove over, myself and my sister, and showed it. Just being in Paris was wonderful.
And you've become quite a celebrity, because you were just showing me, I'm going to sort of show some of these to camera now. So you've become quite a celebrity, in your own right, because if you look at some of these images, the front pages, the front covers as well, are very exciting.
A few front covers.
And as I move them through, look at this. Some of the wonderful images that we've got of you now. Some of the front covers as well at the same time. How important is it? Press, publicity, how important is it to the fashion industry? How important is it for you?
For me, absolutely. As Pavel says, it's a step, it's another step, but you need people to help you get onto the step or invite you to the right room. So the publicity in the magazines, you might not be financially gaining at some points in time, but it's your name being out there, and your name turning up over and over brings the recognition. So the front covers or just the mentions in the different magazines, I think I'm up to 19 publications at the moment. A lot of them have been through Pavel or photographers who put your work forward. So absolutely, being on a show like this is of course the absolute, isn't it? To have the publicity, to get so someone sees something that they like and maybe invite you to sit and have a chat.
Absolutely right.
Yes.
And you describe your work these days as from street to red carpet.
I do.
What are the... Do you have favourite fabrics? Do you have favourite colours that you like to work? Because I noticed there's a lot of gold.
Yes.
Which I thought was fascinating. In your recent show in Wood Green.
Yes, gold is, as you see, gold is very fashionable for me with the black. So my label is gold and black, and the needle in the middle is gold, and the rest is on a black background. But colour, definitely. Sometimes the colour is the inspiring thing sometimes that you work with. I know yearly they put out colours, oh, these are the in colours. I work with it sometimes, but I work with what feels right for me. So I can have fabric sitting down for ages, and all of a sudden I see it in motion, I see it in style. And then I'm like, right, I'm gonna work that way. And gold is a good seller because of what it relates to. So gold works.
And I think the silhouette of the dresses that you create work for all shapes and sizes, doesn't
That's
it?
Yes.
You know, Africa, Caribbean women, they have all different shapes and sizes. And I thought that your show, particularly was fascinating because you actually created something that was so vibrant.
Yes.
And you could see the smiles on the models' faces. You could see the pride of actually wearing those dresses as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to say, I turn up to a show and people say, oh, even if they're not on my list to walk for me, they'd be, oh, Kianara, please let me walk for you, please let me walk for you. So I always bring 5 or so extra dresses or extra shirts and trousers for the guys so that I can have as many people walking for me, models walking for me as possible, because they actually really enjoy.
Yes.
I would say they enjoy the what I bring to the catwalk.
And Pav, I mean yourself, is that you obviously recognise there are all shapes and sizes as well of, especially African and Caribbean women.
Yeah.
Was that one of the initial processes that you went through with Anya? For Can't Stop Fashion, it was to actually show that every woman is beautiful.
Yes, so a big part of Can't Stop Fashion is diversity and being inclusive, because there are many people who are models, but at the same time might not be seen as models within, I guess, the industry standards, so to speak. So there are still people who believe that a plus size model is a size 12 model, when in reality plus size doesn't start until size 14 upwards. So I just try to ensure that we do, put the correct people in the right places and give the opportunities to people, because it can be very hard, for certain models, regardless of whether it's shapes, sizes, even heights. Like I know some really amazing models who are quite short, but when it comes to presenting themselves on the runway, such as Rini, for example, or even Flames, is another one. They are so amazing, but if they were to try and, let's say, go into maybe London Fashion Week, it might be sort of hard for them if they don't know the right people. But there are so many talented people out there who might just not look at what people consider to be a model in terms of heights or shapes, but in reality, they have everything it needs.
Yes.
And Kianara, you've been a stylist on 2 movies as well.
2 movies, yes.
How interesting was that?
I know. In an organisation called Star Now, and someone saw my portfolio and they just said, oh, can you come and have an interview with us for one of our movies, which was Golden Stripes. and I went along, and that was it. So I was on set for about 4 months in London. It was fabulous. It was just wonderful to be on set. Just to be on set every day, day and night, because you're working with times, you're working with what's happening with the weather, you're working with what's happening with the lights outside when you need evening shots. So you're just there, you're just always ready to go again. And okay, another take, another take, another take, and you just get used to another take.
And I've got a note here, and for the life of me, I can't remember why I put the note down, but it's to do with Miss UK International. So you have a connection?
Yeah, oh, right, yes. I didn't, one of the models for Miss UK International for India, I dressed her for, I think in 2023.
Okay.
I believe I dressed her, and she came to one. She walked for me at one of the shows as well.
How important is that to be actually internationally recognised?
Oh, absolutely, because now I get quite a few leads in to, oh, can you dress one of our pageants? Still getting them from Pelham. Dress one of our models who's a pageant. She's going up for Miss London, Miss England, Miss UK. So it's important. It's important because, and if they win or come runner-up, of course, everyone's looking at what they're wearing. And there's an in.
Excellent. What advice would you give to a young designer, the 16-year-old you? What would you, thinking back now, what would you like to have heard? What type of advice would you have liked to have received at that time?
My mum say yes, go to London College, because I would have been much further ahead. To be around people who encourage you. And even if you can't get to London College, go somewhere where they're going to teach you the real ropes, and working in the industry, even if you have to do volunteering. Even if you have to volunteer once a week, if you're at school or on the weekend, get behind the scenes. Carry on doing what you believe is right, and keep your style. Keep your style and your passion, because all the styles are different, but there's room for all the styles.
And Pav, how important is it to get the right type of training as well? And it's the type of thing that I think you're trying to do as well, aren't you, with Can't Stop Fashion?
Yeah. Just to add a little bit onto what Kianara said, first of all, I think another good thing for young designer students to keep in mind is that parents will always come from a place of love and care, but it might not always be a place of understanding. So depending on their background and the opportunities that they had as children, it might affect their mindsets towards the creative side of people. And I tend to see with a lot of creatives, they all sort of have the same issue where their parents didn't necessarily support what they were about. So sometimes it's just understanding that it's not them trying to put you down, they just can't see it as a reality of what is going to be successful. So you have to be able to push past that and still be willing to chase your dreams and chase that element of creativity to get yourself past that.
Yeah.
Kianara, what type of influences, what type of designers do you admire yourself? What might have influenced who you are today?
In the beginning, it would have been Yves Saint Laurent, Chanel, and Dior. But once I got to London College of Fashion, and I was able to be more creative because I had the right machinery to work with. Because when you're at home, you're limited to your little brother or your little singer. But when you get into a space where you've got industrial machines that are amazing, and if you like machine work, because I studied textiles as well, and I love the feel of textiles and doing things with it and taking it out of its context and putting it with something that it shouldn't work with and get the balance. So I would say to just carry on. That's how you make yourself. That's how you make your style. That's how you make your own way. Is to feel it. I think feel things through and experiment. And I say from the street to the red carpet, because I say, okay, change your shoes, change your hair, lipstick, let's go. And this is how I take it from one place to the other place.
What do you see as your future?
Whoa. Well, big question. The future for me is to expand the London Met so it becomes an international scene, that it's well recognised, especially in the UK, and people jump on board. So the people come on board who can help put it forward, show up, to show Britain at its best in fashion, to show Britain that we've something to offer as well. We don't always have to look across the water. We can do it. So I see the destiny going that way, with more fashion, an online approach maybe, working for a house. So I've given myself a few options, because you never know sometimes how the water flows, and who sees you and who wants to reach out to you. So I don't want to close myself down.
What are the hardest hurdles to overcome?
Being noticed. Being recognised.
Especially in this day and age, I would say.
Yeah.
With social media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be recognised, because there's so much out there. There is just so much out there. But you've got your own design, you've got your own self, you've got your own style. And for someone else to see that style and recognise it, and it to be recognised again and again and again, that's the hurdle. And people are quick, the scroll is quick. I've got to capture your imagination for 3 to 5 seconds, and at least I've got you having a look.
What keeps you going?
Because I believe it's happening all the time. Every time you're invited to a show, look where I am now. Had I stopped, I wouldn't be here. You see, same thing that keeps Pavel going. You want the next move, and you want the next show, and you want the next thank you, and you want the next model saying, oh, really love wearing your designs. Because sometimes you really do feel like, what is it worth? But then they say, no, don't give up. We really love what you do. And there's so many workbooks to look at, to pull from. So you think, oh, I can make a range out of this. I can make a collection from that. So that keeps me going. I've got a lot of work that's in books from college over the years.
And Pav, how important is it for the Kionaras of this world to succeed?
That's a good question. For this specific Kionara, it's very important. But I would say it's a journey for everybody, and I feel it's so important that people do stay true to themselves. And there is going to be times where it's hard, or times where things don't always work out. I've experienced it many times myself. But as Kionara said, even if I was to have stopped at those hurdles, then I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have been here recently with yourself. I wouldn't have been at Coach for Star Week. So it is so important to sort of persevere and understand that I feel life is very much like the waves. It's always going to fluctuate. Yes. No one's going to have a perfectly smooth life. Nor would it even make sense to have a perfectly smooth life, because then you wouldn't even see your highs as highs anymore. They're now going to be down there because it's just the regular. So you're now chasing a high which isn't going to come, so you will start to feel low. So I feel it's very important that we still have that kind of that wave of a journey.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you think your type of fashion, which is really bright, but it's classic at the same time, is it transitioning to other cultures?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, because the dresses you're speaking about, the long gold dresses, after the show, I thought, you know what I should have done? I should have bought a hijab. Because that would definitely have done it. Do you see? Or a wrap for an African lady, a shawl to work maybe without the sari, but just how the Asians cover their head. Yeah, so it can move. And that's what I think makes it viable to other people, and other people can see themselves in it, because it might need a little change, but I can still wear the dress and then wrap my head if I need to cover my hair. Do you see? So that's how it transitions, and that's what makes style, because we can use the same dress, but it's how we show up in it.
Excellent. So, unfortunately, we're coming to the end now. So, how can people get in contact with you?
Well, you can get in contact with me via PAV, of course, but also you can get in contact with me via Instagram. It's Kianara.h or Kianara.fashion. Kianara Hazin on Facebook. Kianara Fashions on YouTube. So, there's quite a few ways you can get in touch with me. Excellent. And of course, you can always contact Ian.
Bless your heart. And Pav, how can people get in contact with you for Can't Stop Fashion?
So for myself, it would be Instagram, which is can'tstopfashion_official. The email is hello@can'tstopfashion.com, and the website is can'tstopfashion.com.
Excellent. Guys, thank you so much
for
your interview today
and
for coming in. The rain is outside, but you brought sunshine. You brought sunshine into the studio. So bless the both of you. And you are the most fantastic designer.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much, Ian. It was a pleasure meeting you. Thank you, and thank you for inviting us.
Thanks
for having us.
Take care.
Yes.
We're just going to have a short break, and then we can do the final part of the show. Take care. Okay, now welcome back. We thought today it'd be quite nice to get a Brazilian view of what people think of Buckingham Palace. So we have brought on Diane Felix, who is a wonderful Brazilian presenter on Brazilian TV channels. So, Diane, what do you think about Buckingham Palace?
So, Buckingham Palace is so really magical, and Brazilians would like know more about history. It's full of history, elegance, and royal charm. Brazilians find Buckingham Palace a symbol of tradition. Brazilians consider royal family, and a lot and exciting things happen there.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. So lots of events take place, different events. What can you share any that you know of that you enjoy?
Yeah, so it hosts state occasions and royal hospitality. Basically, we would like to enjoy afternoon tea in the gardens during the summer. We know that in July, Buckingham Palace opened to summer visiting season, and is a great opportunity for know more about history and live this experience at Buckingham Palace.
Bless you. And I think you know a little bit about the history of Buckingham Palace, because from what I understand, it wasn't always called Buckingham Palace.
Yeah, no. Normally, I know that known as a Buckingham House. Yeah, a townhouse built for Duke of Buckingham, the King George III, in 1761. It became It became London residence to the British monarch for Queen Victoria in 1837. Is a really spectacular history.
It is. It's great history.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, just thinking about, what you think of Buckingham Palace, what Brazilians think of Buckingham Palace. I mean, what type of events would you like to see taking place there
Yeah.
or to be part of?
Yeah, like I said, Buckingham Palace is full of magical history and like a little bit mysterious too, I find. But it's having some events like state rooms when they open for public visit. Walking around the wonderful gardens too, but definitely the change of the guard is one of big and a special moment. We wait for this moment, so enjoy. Maybe now open July, we can enjoy and looking for more events in the Buckingham Palace.
Absolutely.
Lovely.
And do you think this is the type of thing that you're talking personally about the events? Right? Is this the type of thing that Brazilians would like to see? You know, coming over here, do they like things like the changing of the guard? Do they like afternoon tea?
Yeah, exactly. Afternoon tea in the gardens. Oh my gosh, it's so special, spectacular, and poetic. It's a poetic moment because all of history, elegance, and royal charm. Brazilians would like to live like a royal family. All of this is so fantastic and amazing history.
Oh, it's so lovely as well because on these garden parties, King Charles
Exactly, garden parties.
honours people, so people that have done well from different cultures. So invites them to have tea and eat cake. So it's, you never know. You could be invited.
Yeah, sure.
It should be good fun.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for your insight today, because it's amazing again, and I know there's a very large Brazilian population in London, but there's also a large amount of tourists, and you all create great value for this community and for this country. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Diane.
Thank you. A big honor for me to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh.
So another great show today. All sorts of things happening. We're talking about the royal family. We're talking about what Brazilians think about Buckingham Palace, and we're talking about Can't Stop Fashion as well. So Helena, what do you think about what's going on at the moment?
Well, there's masses of royal news. I mean, I think the most extraordinary thing at the moment is obviously King Charles opening Parliament. We've got lots going on, Buckingham Palace and garden parties and fashion. And I think as well, talking about the late Princess Diana is just always quite iconic. She's just really renowned and known so much for her great dress sense. So it's all very exciting. Lots of news.
Yeah, another good show today. So first of all, as always, can I thank Helena Castrati from ALB UK TV for helping us out on this show. Can I thank Dr. Jacqueline Kobeck from USA Global TV and Radio as well. And obviously, can I thank our guests today as well? Helena, who would you like to thank at the same time? Because there's so many people helping us.
We have a long
now.
list. I know. No, just thank you, everyone, and thank you to our viewers, of course. And obviously, any questions that anyone would like to ask us, we can obviously divulge in the next show. So do get in contact.
Absolutely. So for me, Ian Pelham Turner.
And from me, Helena Chard.
Have a great week. See you next week. Bye for now.
Take care.